So there's one thing that my patients are doing that makes them look younger, 5, 10, 15 years younger. It's backed by science, and it's actually been trending over the past 5 to 7 years. The best part is it does not take a long time to do. Would you believe that you can gain over 5% of bone mass in a year with this activity? And it doesn't take a long time for you to see change. We have some beautiful scenery today. Let's dive in to this quick video. So one of the things that makes people look older than their age is bone loss. And even if you get skin tightening, even if you get a facelift, it doesn't address the bone. So addressing the bone early is very important. Now, I see it in facial bone, of course, because that's what I do every day. But how can I not have the conversation about body bone as well? Because women live longer, and what you do for the face and the face bone also affects the body bone. So keep that in mind. As we age, people can see that you're hunched over, kyphoscoliosis. The spine is extremely important. And of course, hip fractures are associated with mortality, morbidity, and we often measure bone in the wrists. But what can you do to avoid bone loss? Well, many of my patients are on medications for it. Bisphosphonates is probably the most common. People are on calcitonin. People are on parathyroid-like drugs. But really, there's something very simple backed by science that you can do, and that is activity and exercise. But not just anyone. You need to have specific exercises backed by science. Now, there's a discussion over, hey, do you want to maintain your bone or do you want to build your bone? And that's going to depend on the age and stage that you're at. Also, genetics, family history, and hormones. But what if you could do something that build your bone and your hormones at the same time? Now, many of you are going to the gym for 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, but you're missing out on the most important exercise that takes 5 to 10 minutes. Let's talk about first the things that do not work. Number one, non-weight bearing exercises. Now, I travel the world and I go to places where there are a demographic of older people. What are they doing? They're in the pool, they're swimming. I love swimming, but it is useless for your bone. Useless for your bone. I like it. It does great things for your body and you can get toned and it can help with your cardio, but it's not helping your bone. The second thing I see, if I'm at a hotel, I'm traveling around, I go to the gym, people are on those sliders. I don't even know what you call them. I don't get on those things. You slide and you move your arms, and they do not build bone. Why? There's no impact. Understand, your bone builds when your tendons are stretched. So when you flex your muscle, that of course pulls on the tendon, which is attached to the bone, and that says to your body what? It says, hey, this guy's got to lift something over his lifetime in the future. And there's always feedback systems in the body. And one of the feedback systems says, hey, build bone because the body's under stress. So how do you build bone if we now know the exercises that don't work? Well, there's 3 great exercises that do, but only one that is key. And they are high stress exercises to the muscle and bone. Number 3 would be, I like them, shoulder presses. Now, I just took out my AC joint. I can't do that for a couple months now, but I was big on shoulder presses. Number 2, the deadlift. Now, the deadlift is a movement in which your hips hinge backward to lower down and pick up a weighted barbell. I see many people use the kettlebell from the floor as well. Your back should be flat throughout this movement. And the third and most important exercise studied is the squat. So here's the trial here. High intensity resistance and impact training improves bone mineral density, and this is important, physical function in postmenopausal women. They did study this later in men with already having osteopenia and osteoporosis, and that's the LIFTMOR, and it was a randomized controlled trial we'll look at very briefly here. So here they looked at high intensity resistance and impact training, HIRT they call it, And what they did, the purpose of the trial was to determine the efficacy, so the effectiveness, and to monitor, and this is important, any adverse events of this type of exercise. Because the number one excuse I hear from women is, I'm going to hurt myself, I'm going to hurt my back, I'm going to hurt my muscles, I shouldn't be weight bearing like this. When in fact, it's the opposite. And what they did, they took postmenopausal women with low bone mass. There was the T-score. And they were screened for conditions and medications that influence physical functions. They took people who they thought could physically do this, of course, and they were recruited. And of course, we like this, they were randomized to either, and this is the important part, 8 months, because this is what you're going to want to do. So 8 months of twice weekly, 30 minutes. So twice a week for 30 minutes, almost nothing, supervised, because you have to supervise them to standardize it. 5 sets, 5 repetitions. 1 repetition maximum. Or they did a home-based low-intensity exercise program. And that's what most of you are doing. A home-based low-intensity exercise program. Comment below certainly what you're doing, but I know many people I talk to, most women, are doing low intensity. Not in a negative way, but meaning they're not putting pressure on the spine in terms of squats and overhead presses because they're worried. And then pre and post-intervention testing included lumbar spine and proximal femur bone mineral density. So those are the scans that we talk about. And of course, measures of functional performance, because there's no need to have this great bone if you have no functional capacity because somehow it's disabling you somewhere else. And of note, there was 101 women in the study. And for the results, our novel, brief exercise program enhances indices of bone strength and functional performance in postmenopausal women with existing low bone mass. Many people already have existing low bone mass, and those are the ones that are worried about stressing their bone the most. Contrary to the current opinion, it was efficacious and induced no adverse events under highly supervised conditions. So you can't just go do these exercises. You want to have someone watch your form, but like anything else, once you get going, you're going to be fine. You just need some supervision in the beginning to get your form down and maybe a couple top-ups in between. And you could read this study if you want to see the exact parameters that they measured, but absolutely convincing. Now, one thing I don't want you to do is go out and start squatting. If you're not doing this already, you want to get a trainer because you want to do it properly. You want to protect your back, but you do want to get to a significant amount of weight. Now, squats are trending, of course. So why is this trending? Well, it's because the butt lift is in. And if you go to the gym, a whole group of my patients are doing squats because they're trying to build the gluteus muscle. In turn, they're looking younger because that is building what? Hormones. When you do intense exercises, heavy weightlifting exercises like that, then the hormones are naturally going to build. And of course, hormones make your skin and your bone look younger because there's estrogen and testosterone involved. So it just happens to be that that trending procedure is also making people not only look younger, also looking younger because of the skin and the bone, not just the bone. So what's your actionable advice? If you're doing this, you want to maintain and keep doing it. But I know many of you aren't. And if you're not, you need proper form. You want to see a trainer or just pick someone in the gym you probably already know who's doing them. Guys do this a lot, and get perfect form. You want to film yourself because you don't know what your form is really until you film yourself doing them, and you don't want to injure your back. So it's very easy, but here's the thing. This is only going to take you maybe 10 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. Now, if you do this 4 or 5 times a week, most people can't maintain because their muscles are going to be sore, but that's fine. But literally 2 to 3 times a week. And if you're doing it 0 right now, do it once a week. Don't think 3 or 4 times a week in your head or you will never, ever do it. But building your bone, your testosterone, your hormones is going to be key for the rest of your life. And remember, I'm seeing hormone loss, I'm seeing bone loss at a younger and younger age. So the recommendations of checking your bone and your bone scans in your late 50s and mid 60s, that's outdated. It's just that your doctor's not going to know that. Your doctor's not going to recommend it because it hasn't made its way to the quote unquote recommendations. And if you go to your doctor, you already know. They don't even look at you. They're on the computer and they're typing in data that you're telling you, and it spits out a whole formula that they believe that you should be doing. And that's based on what? The general population. But guess what? You're not. You're not the general population. You're special. You have different genetics. You have different family history, and you have a different lifestyle history that needs to be taken into account. So you can't go by what your doctor's telling you. Unfortunately, it's a guideline, but you have to take your health into your own hands. And if you get no other message out of this video, I think that's a key important message. Okay, now you're going to want to watch this video on ways you can boost your collagen at home, and this one on 4 supplements to help tighten and brighten your skin. Make it a great day. Keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.